Hey everybody, I'm John, and this is Blind Whiskey Reviews. Hey everybody, and thank you so much for joining me today here on Blind Whiskey Reviews, the most honest reviews on YouTube. As always, if you're liking these videos, don't forget, hit that subscribe button down below and hit the bell notification. That way you'll know every time I'm uploading a new video and every time I'm starting a new live stream. And if you're not already, don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Twitter at blind_reviews. Post all kinds of cool pictures about what I'm picking up in terms of whiskeys, what I'm drinking out in bars, all kinds of fun stuff. So definitely go ahead and follow me on those two platforms. You won't be disappointed. Today, we're reviewing a very popular bourbon in bars. And I won't say popular based on what people think about it so much as you find this whiskey in every bar. This is the Bulleit Bourbon, and it seems that this bourbon came up in popularity in the last several years and has been used in bars for mixing cocktails. This is almost like a default for a lot of bars in their cocktails. So definitely a popular option out there in the world to drink at a bar or restaurant. So I am very happy to bring you this review. So without further ado, let's jump back in time before I knew what I was drinking and get to the review. All right, everybody, let's get into the whiskey. We've got a nice little medium amber color. For the legs, we're looking a little thin, not sticking too well to the glass. For the nose, now we've got that like juicy red apple, some caramel, a touch of vanilla. There's a touch of maybe like red fruit buried back there, like a berry. Maybe the slightest hint of citrus in there. Smells a lot like a Buffalo Trace product at this point, so who knows what we're dealing with, but that's how it smells right now. But I'm excited to get into the taste. Cheers. Not sure what to think of this at first. You get some of that fruitiness right in the front of the palate, but this feels very thin, lower proof. Definitely gonna need another taste of this one to kind of pick up on some of these flavors. Let me get another one in. Yeah, there's just kind of this light fruity quality, touch of bitterness on the back. You're left with a little bit of burn on the tongue, but on the palate it's very thin. I mean, it feels like a very low proof whiskey, 80 to 85, thin mouthfeel, short finish. Like I said, you're left with this kind of slightly sweet but bitter quality on your tongue, but not a lot of flavor left. Let's get another taste. Yeah, there's not a lot going on the palate. Like I said, up front, you're getting some light fruitiness. Mid palate, if you really dig for it, you'll pick up on a little bit of caramel, maybe like the slightest hint of like a cinnamon type character. And like I said, then it quickly converts into a slightly bitter, slightly sweet character on the palate, and it's just vanishes pretty quick. And like I said, you're kind of left with this strange, tingly, harsh burn on your tongue, which I find strange because this really doesn't taste like it's much more than 80, 85 proof. So I'm a little bit baffled by this whiskey, and maybe we'll take one more taste here. Let me get a sip of water. Maybe that'll help clean up the palate here. Every once in a while, you need a reset. All right, one more taste. Yeah, there's not much going on here. Low proof. At least that's how it comes across on the palate. But there, like I said, there is this weird tingle of a burn, which I don't quite understand. But I'm saying we're still in that 80 proof range, maybe 85 tops. The biggest notes you're getting are the light fruits, these light, crisp apple kind of character. You get a little bit of caramel. If you're really digging, you get a little bit of vanilla, maybe a slight hint of cinnamon, and it's just gone real quick on the palate. So it's not bad. It's not great. You know, everybody, if you've been watching my channel, you know how I feel about low proof whiskey. This whiskey is not being served by the dilution that's been done to it to create this product. So you can see hints of some good flavors in there, but there's just nothing. They have no power behind them, and you really have to dig to even find some of them. So with that said, it's not bad. There's nothing off about this whiskey. It's just, again, low proof, not much going on. So in the realm of low proof whiskeys, I'm going to say that this is, as a rating, I mean, as low proof whiskey goes, and probably, I would imagine, maybe a budget whiskey, you know, if this is like a $10 whiskey, it's not bad. It's right in the vein with any other $10 whiskey out there. If this is more expensive than that, then maybe we have a problem. But for me, right now, I'm going to say that this is, it's right in the middle of these low proof whiskeys. I mean, it's like a 73. You know, perfectly drinkable, perfectly decent whiskey, just suffers because they added way too much water, either to spread it out or to just make it a more inexpensive product, perhaps. So before we get into talking too much about what they did and why they did it, let's find out what this thing is. This is Bulleit Bourbon Frontier Whiskey, Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. Interesting. This is not the first Bulleit product. I've done their cast strength whiskey, which I think is way better. I don't know what this is bottled at, but let's grab that bottle in terms of proof. But let's grab that bottle and we'll talk about this whiskey a little bit more. All right, everybody, we just finished our review of the Bulleit Bourbon Frontier Whiskey, Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey, made from pure Kentucky limestone filtered water in the Bulleit family tradition, whatever that means. This whiskey is bottled at 90 proof, 45% ABV. Gosh, guys, I don't know that I've ever drank Bulleit straight before, neat. It's not something I'd ever order neat. I've definitely had it in cocktails, and I mean, as the review kind of showed, I don't love this whiskey. I don't think it's great whiskey. It's drinkable, but it's nothing I would ever seek out. Very disappointing in the flavor category. It drinks so thin, so weak, not much complexity. Like I said, it felt like an 80, 85 proof whiskey in terms of the palate. The only thing that gave you any clue that this might have been a higher proof whiskey was the burn that I had on the tongue from it, which is never a good sign. You never want the flavor to be less and the burn to be more. Like, that's never a good, you always want it to be the reverse. You want the burn to be like, oh, this feels like an 80 proof whiskey, but it drinks with the flavor of a 100 proof whiskey. Like, that's the ratio you want. This is the reverse. So this is not something I can recommend drinking neat. It just doesn't have the flavor. It has a bit of an alcohol taste to it. It just isn't something that I can recommend to you guys. Like I said, this seems like a default for a lot of bars and restaurants for mixing cocktails. You order an old fashioned and Bulleit is what they're making it with. So I definitely think that you need to pay attention to what you're ordering your drinks with, because I definitely think that as a even mixing option, this whiskey may not be serving you as well as some others out there can. Now, it is an inexpensive whiskey. This bottle can be had for sub $20, so it's reasonably priced. But even at that point, I think there's plenty of whiskeys in the same price range that give you as good, if not better flavor, better complexity, and more going on. So as much as I would love to tell you that this whiskey is a great option, at least in this review for this tasting that I'm doing of it with this bottle, I can't do it. It's just not great whiskey. It's not bad whiskey in the sense that there's something wrong with it, which is why I gave it a score in the low 70s, but it is not standing out. There's nothing about it that stands out. So unfortunately, cannot give this one my mark of approval. I will not be buying another bottle of Bulleit, as I just don't think it's anything I'd ever seek out. I just don't have any of the redeeming qualities I'm looking for in a whiskey. So let me know if you have a different opinion or the same of Bulleit in the comments down below. I'd love to hear what you guys think. Maybe this is a bad taste. Maybe this whiskey needs to open up. I don't know, but as of right now today, I am not loving it. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. And as always, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at blind_reviews. You can send me an email at blindwhiskeyreviews. That's whiskey with an E @gmail.com. And until next time, cheers.